What are the two best pieces of advice you've received in your career so far, and who did they come from?
One actually was my former executive director, Sally Main, in Nashville. And it's always to remember that don't take the professional personally. And that came from like an incident that I don't want to delve into, but it was a good reminder that like, if there's a professional argument, right, don't let that become a personal argument.
Yeah.
So like walk out of the office, let it go. And I was kind of like, that's really good. And I've really tried to maintain that at all times. And the other one, and I know her, I remember her last name was Owens. That's the easy part. I do not remember her first name because I never got to meet her in person. It was a relationship that I always had over email or phone.
Yeah.
And it was basically learn how and when to pick the fight. Mm-hmm. And there was a movie that we were days away from printing the program in Indianapolis. And I mean days away. And it was going to be my opening night film, and the studio pulled it on me.
Oh, wow.
And basically it was through the representative between me and the studio. And she's the one that was just like, you got to let it go. Like, you're not going to win. So don't pick that fight. Yeah. She was like, if you want movies from that studio in the future, you just got to take a deep breath. She's like, I'll do my best to help you get another opening night film. We'll work together on that, but you're not going to win a fight with the studio, man. And right. I'm like, you're right. And so, yeah, that's kind of been one of those things too, is I just sort of like learned to strive for things. And while that still really upset me when my blood boils a little bit to this day, when somebody cancels a film 3 days before I'm supposed to go to print, hasn't happened like that since, just so you know. But yeah, but it also means like it's David doesn't always slay Goliath. Sometimes David survives by knowing not to start the fight in the first place, right? So, right. Yeah, and so it was a good piece of advice, because it also meant that like you knew how to target your emotions properly, and also then take that energy or that anger that comes with something upsetting and focus it, release it, and then use that energy to do something else and fix the situation. So it basically led me to being very much now a solutions-based person.
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on the blame. Situations occur, mistakes are made. Don't panic about it. First, get the solution, then go back and figure out how not to make the mistake again, or how to prevent that from happening. Just an example, we had one film that we were able to screen it later. We rescheduled it, but there was a glitch in a file that resulted in one show. We had to cancel that show, but again, we were able to reschedule it for later in the festival. But we just, instead of like, okay, we got it rescheduled, that's fixed. So we spent the time after the festival now creating a zero cancellation policy. That it is our goal that we will not have any shows canceled ever again. Now, what are the steps that we need to take? What's the technology we need? Do we need to adjust the schedule? Do we need, so you know what I'm saying? Like that's the way it wasn't about who didn't check that file. It was about like, it happened. We got the second screening back on. Now that festival's over, how do we make sure that never happens again? And so it was really those kind of like those two pieces of advice that sort of led me to be like, yeah, it's okay to get angry, but when things happen, but let that part go, get your solution, and then make sure those situations don't happen in the future.